Talk to us about the idea of putting together very quickly another $2 trillion infrastructure plan. It's been suggested by investors and by Democrats and by all sorts of people on both sides of the aisle in recent weeks that this might be some kind of a solution. Would it be?
It's a good question. It all comes down to how it's constructed. The last time they talked about a $2 trillion infrastructure bill about a year and a half ago before COVID-19, the idea was that the federal government would spend maybe a dime to maybe even a quarter on the dollar and hope the states would pick up the rest. And what our analysis at the Penn Wharton budget model showed is that that would not basically happen based on a lot of empirical research and previous studies and even previous attempts to do this, that states have figured out pretty creatively how to absorb that infrastructure spending into their own budget and pay for other things. And so the bill really has to be constructed in a way that focuses less on closed-ended grants that can be easily absorbed into state budgets and more open-ended investments where the federal government picks up most of the tab and the states are really rewarded for making additional investments.
I should mention as well that you're a former member of the Congressional Budget Office and the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the U.S. Treasury, so you know all about these kinds of plans. So talk to us about the Penn Wharton budget model and how the coronavirus epidemic and its effect on the economy factors in.
Right. I mean, we've produced a lot of analysis in the last week, including the cash rebates, in particular, who gets them. And a couple of weeks ago, we did some options for cash rebates, and it looked like Congress basically took our option 3 that it provides cash, in this case, to individuals up to $1,200, to married couples up to $2,400. Plus $500 per child. But the key is that it phases out at $75,000 of AGI for a single person, $150,000 for a married a couple. So it's pretty progressive. It actually delivers a lot toward lower income. The top 20% of the income distribution get only about 8.2% of all the rebates. And we've also done some of the analysis on the above-the-line charitable deduction, showing that it's not going to really move the needle that much. But also a cool tool on the Penn Wharton Budget Model website is that if you can, readers can go and analyze a wide range of different economic scenarios based on just a few factors, including what they perceive as labor market conditions, economic confidence, and business input costs relative to the Great Depression, or the Great Recession of 2008, big faux pas there. And despite the simplicity behind that, you can really get a lot of different variables out of the model, and it's a pretty rich model. So if you have a particular view on that, you can see what's likely going to happen to GDP, employment, prices, payrolls, industrial production, housing, and so forth.
Now, your model finds that more than half of the benefit, so 53% of the benefit, accrues to families in the 60th to 90th percentiles of the income distribution. Nevertheless, Professor, is it going to be enough, and will it come soon enough for those suffering the most?
Yeah, that's a great question. The cash payments should be going out in probably 2 to 3 weeks. That's assuming all goes as expected. What's going to be a bit more of a struggle is the unemployment insurance, and a lot of conditions have been loosened up on claiming for unemployment insurance. For example, you can be an independent contractor, you can be a gig worker. By the way, that will also mean official filings for unemployment will go up quite a bit in the next week or two, because now those people can qualify. So you're going to see a big spike up. But we have to interpret it right, because these are people who even in previous recessions would have lost work, but they didn't show up in the data. So we're going to see that showing up in the data. The problem is unemployment insurance is really levied at the state level. It's a coordination between federal and states, and a lot of states just aren't set up to distribute the checks under the new rules. They have very legacy, old systems. You see this in New York. Their system is not scaling. They can't handle the increase in even online applications. But it's really the back-end processing. These systems are often mainframes running COBOL code, Fortran code, and it's not like state workers can dial in from home and do a lot of code changes. So you're going to see a lot of delays in state distribution of unemployment insurance. A lot of states are scrambling on that right now, but that part's not going to work as intended.